Here at BizVision, our commitment to the conscious agenda is extensive. We've been active in issues such as policies and compliance for over 20 years. Many years of those years, though, we felt that businesses, especially suppliers, were just paying lip service to issues such as equality and diversity in order to, say, win contracts. We simply helped them tick boxes. Thankfully, there is, to our mind, happening now an enormous sea change taking place, as you'll see from many of our interviews on our Conscious Business shows. Business are thankfully learning that it's not what you do that wins contracts and attracts great talent, but instead it's who you are. However, there's lots more work to do. So I was very excited to have the opportunity of interviewing a leader in diversity, equality, inclusion. She's the founder of the This Is Us conference, along with many other initiatives. She's Meena Chander. Welcome to the Conscious Business Show, Meena.
Thank you very much, Malcolm, for having me. I'm very pleased to be on your show today. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
And we're just as excited to talk to you. Meena, what makes you so passionate about encouraging equality and diversity, inclusion, the change in the business world?
Well, I come from a mixed ethnic background myself. So we have broken quite a few rules in our family anyway in terms of equality and diversity. So my grandmother was English and my dad is half Indian, half English. And growing up, I didn't really find it much of an issue, but I found it an issue in the workplace where suddenly I'm with people who don't understand the culture or who don't understand that what a mixed race person looks like, or they assume that I do something because it was my culture. I think that's a real kind of passion of, me coming from a mixed ethnic background. I also have friends who are within the LGBTQ plus community who aren't necessarily open about their identity. So I thought it's really important to discuss matters like that, to make people aware that actually we are all different and we actually bring something different to a party. So that was really my main passion for diversity.
Excellent, yeah. Now, it seems to me that many advocates for change talk the talk, but few walk the walk. Please tell us how you are walking the walk towards achieving your purpose or mission.
I think the main thing is that everything I do with a conscience. So when I look for suppliers or people that I work with, whether it's freelancers or employees, I make sure that they are actually very much in tune with what diversity and inclusion means. And, they might have a mixed workforce, for example, or they're very much aware what diversity is. And also with my conference, This Is Us conference, I thought I'd bring that to the forefront to actually help companies realize what diversity and inclusion means within a workplace environment, and actually just try to help them understand and make them more aware of what it means to be a diverse organization and what the benefits are of being a diverse organization. So for me, that's what's embedded in my everyday ethos and company culture is, who I interact with on a daily basis, and of course through my conference to help other people.
I like that embedding, yes. So in that case, tell us a little bit more about the This Is Us conference. Are you going to be able to hold it this year? But what was the spark that caused you to create it?
3 years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who is very much within the LGBT sphere, but who was not out in terms of his identity. He is a cross-dresser. So I was just literally chatting to him, and I thought, well, there's actually an opportunity here to make people aware of what it is to be a diverse person. So that's what really sparked it off, is speaking to my close friend to say, I actually could probably help them and help many others like them by making companies more aware. Now, This Is Us conference is very much about talks and panels and discussions about LGBTQ, about women, and about BAME in the workplace environment. So this year is very much talking about those three specific topics, and women, for example, imposter syndrome, menopause in the workplace, really important. Us older women are, we're living longer, we're more in leadership positions these days and responsibility. So obviously the older one is, they are going to have other stresses in life which companies need to be aware of. BAME, employment, as in I'm looking at things like, 3 generations ago, Asians and Black people came over, and they either took up manual jobs or jobs within their own businesses, for example, shops, and how the generation has changed over the years. We know a lot more educated and integrated within the British society, but there's still challenges, and it's trying to explore why those challenges are. And now we see that cycle again with like the Eastern Europeans coming over. So it's like talking about that whole life cycle and how that's all changed and why there's still barriers. And of course, LGBTQ as a whole, inclusive language, intersectionality, etc. So it's going to be online this year, virtual. So in a way, it's quite positive because it actually reaches a wider audience. Because of, unfortunately, with COVID, we can't hold it in the physical presence.
Can people find out more information about that from your URL?
They can find it on thisisusconference.co.uk.
Thisisusconference.co.uk.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you've personally suffered bad discrimination experiences in the workplace. Give us an insight into how that felt for you and what you thought about the company that, and I use this word carefully, allowed it to happen to you.
It was very difficult because, as I said, I never really experienced what it was like to be somebody, that little bit different when I was growing up. It's only when I came into the workplace, there weren't really many people like me, or, Indian or Asian or, even Black people within the events industry. It was a very white dominated environment. So that was a challenge in itself. And people just assume that I would do something, or, I'd wear like a cardigan, for example, because that's my religion and I wanted to cover up, not the fact that I was cold. So it's like, silly little things like that, which sort of really surprised me, shall we say. But then, I was an educated person. I did my master's as well whilst I was working. And I felt there was always a reason why not to give me an opportunity, or there was always a reason why not to give me a chance to do something or explore an idea that I had. I felt that I had really had to fight, where other people who weren't experienced and who weren't of colour, shall we say, got the opportunity straight away and were developed and etc. So it was difficult. I can't say it was easy. And at the time, I guess I probably didn't actually realise that until I came out of that environment. And I look back and I feel, well, I had a master's, highly educated. I was very well received by my clients, very determined, very knowledgeable, very capable. So what was a reason why not to develop me? Why was there always a barrier or a reason why not? So it was difficult. And in a way, it's made me a very strong person, and it's actually made me stand up for people of all diverse backgrounds. And that's really another reason why I did the conference, is to actually make organisations aware that actually people who are different actually bring in positive nuances to a party as well. And that's really important when you're creating a project, to have that diverse thinking. So yeah, so that's the reason why.
As I said in my opening piece, myself, my wife Kim Gallagher, our colleague John Rain of See Things, we've been banging heads on for years about the importance of equality and diversity and inclusion. We've had too many cases, though, where we've had to resort to almost bribery, do this and you can win contracts. But it's not the way it should be. One of the problems I felt is that at the top, the staid leader does not understand the value to his or her business of sound diversity and inclusion. So am I right or wrong here? And what can be done about it other than legislation, which we've got enough of in the SME world?
Absolutely right, Malcolm. It absolutely has to come from the top. I really do believe that, because if your CEO or the MD of the company or the owner of the business is really not in tune with a particular I don't really like to call it an issue, or an initiative, shall we say. It could be anything within an organisation. Then it's very difficult for people lower down the hierarchy to actually engage with it, of course, for obvious reasons, because obviously everybody at the end of the day wants to keep their job. So they feel if they are perhaps not strong enough, or they cause a disruption to the company, it's in fear of losing their job at the end of the day. So it really has to come from the top. And things that companies can do are just simple things like talk to your employees, have think tanks with them, engage in conversation with them, get their perspective on how things are going. Perhaps set up a staff network within diversity. If it's not a big organisation where they have a whole range of people, perhaps just start off with one employee resource group where they talk about diversity as a whole. So it's small things like that, and also attending events like this Is Us conference, where you meet other people, you get ideas about what they're doing in their organisations, but they don't actually have to be in the same industry as you, because that's actually the beauty of my conference, is that people are from different industries and sectors, and it's not concentrating just on one sector. So you again get that diverse kind of thinking. So that's another simple thing that you can do. There are lots of training courses and awareness courses and seminars that go on as well, which might be interesting. But I think talking about it in the first place with your employees in some sort of think tank, I think is really important. Yes, you can send out a survey, but a survey is very impersonal. So I think, create that dialogue with somebody or with your employees to actually get an idea of what they're actually feeling. Because when you send out a questionnaire, you don't really get a sense of their actual emotions. So I think that's really important. And that's the key in anything, is communication.
I think when you send out a questionnaire as well, you never get the true answers, do you? People just tell you what you want to know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That.
So let's just go back on that last question then, Meena. Can you give me 3 sound benefits a conscious business can enjoy from having a transparent and embedded diversity and inclusion culture?
Well, first of all, you get to meet different people. So how great is that? We are all people, aren't they, at the end of the day? We are all humans. So how wonderful is it that you actually get to know people from different walks of life? That makes life exciting and interesting, which then makes your workplace exciting and interesting, and it just creates a better working environment. Really, more than anything else, I think that's really important. I think that would be my kind of like top priority, shall we say, or top benefit. Other things is like, of course, if you're a diverse organization and people can see you're treating your employees well, that of course presents you in a different light, in a very positive light. And then also, as I've mentioned before, you actually gives you a little bit of a competitive advantage, because if you have diverse people in your organization, they're all going to have different ways of doing things and different ideas and different thinking, which then brings so much richness into a project. So I think those are my 3 sort of top benefits.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, what part do you think educational leaders plays in the change to living the conscious business elements we're talking about? I mean, here, how can such learning be delivered at an effective level within a company, which usually means boardroom level?
Yes, very good question. I mean, a board has to be diverse. So again, it's looking at your board and seeing, who do we have on our board and how can we make this more diverse? And it's about giving people the opportunity. And I don't say give them the opportunity because as a sort of tokenism, but I had this conversation actually on another group a couple of weeks ago, and they said, it was a black guy, and he said, the CEO of this association gave him the opportunity to stand in for himself, as the acting CEO for an event. And he said, well, if I hadn't been given that opportunity, then how can I prove myself? So it's about having that fine line between giving somebody opportunity as just because they're black, or because they're a woman, or because they're gay, or because of whatever they identify as, to actually giving the opportunity to actually portray what they actually can do. It's giving them that chance. So I think that's really important on a board, is to have that diverse group of people, but giving people the opportunity and an equal chance. And if they don't want it, or they don't don't feel comfortable, and they don't want to proceed at a later date, well, at least you can say you've actually given them that opportunity, rather than not giving them the opportunity at all.
Excellent. Now, just before we move on, can you just give me again, please, the website address for your conference this year?
Absolutely. It's www.thisisusconference.co.uk. So it's thisisusconference.co.uk.
Thanks, Meena. Now, do you think that business is on a major change in the right direction? After all, mindfulness and well-being are definitely being addressed. How do we make the company go the whole way and be what we call a lighthouse conscious business company, an exemplar?
Absolutely, because as I was saying before, diversity isn't only about race and about gender. It's actually looking at everything that goes within the sphere of inclusion. So it's looking at people from underrepresented group. You might have somebody who's perhaps slightly quieter in an organisation, who probably doesn't have that confidence to actually speak up. Then it's giving them the opportunity, whether it's training, whether it's support, whether it's in a group conversation, you ask them what they think. And I think what we should do is stop telling people what they can't do and find a solution to support how they can progress in an organisation. That's really important. And that stems back to education as well. It's like saying, with all the mess up of the education system that's happened this year, my daughter unfortunately didn't do great in her GCSE for whatever reason, we don't know. But when it came to her BTEC National, they were only judged on her first term. They were judged on their previous results, and they weren't given the opportunity to actually show what they can do, and they weren't judged by what they can do now. And that's wrong. That again goes against inclusion. If you keep judging people in their past, and keep judging people on their failures, and you're not giving them the encouragement or the direction to progress, then you're failing as a company or an organisation or an educational establishment. So I think let's stop telling people what they can't do, and let's find a solution to help them achieve what they can do.
Brilliant. I really like that, Meena. I really like that. Meena, final question. And as always, I end an interview with giving my interviewee 3 wishes. So if I was to give you 3 wishes that would help you towards achieving your diversity and inclusion purpose in the shortest time possible, what would they be?
That's a great question. I think stop hating people for a start. That's so important. Step back and don't judge. Just realise that actually people have all got different problems and issues and challenges going on in life. So, let's stop judging people. And I can't really think of a third one. Obviously, I would love diversity to be equal, and I would love people just all to get on. But we do have a long way to go. But I think we are going in the right direction, and we are stepping those small steps and those stepping stones. And it's going to take time, but as long as people recognise that and they're a little bit more patient with others, then I think we've got a really good chance.
Brilliant. Meena Chander, you are an inspiration. Founder of This Is Us conference, and you just have such stimulating answers. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity today. Thank you so much.